10 years into our marriage. My husband Jiang Chuan's mistress sent me a picture of them in bed. In the photo, she is naked, pressing herself against my husband's chest, smiling brightly and provocatively. The caption reads, "Sister, Chuan Gu says he loves the way you look in a uniform. But I've noticed he doesn't love the way you look in a uniform." I looked at my phone and calmly replied with okay. Then, I spent half an hour locating the name of her hometown village, her parents' names, and the names and contact details of the leaders at her parents' respective workplaces. I am a surgeon. Finding the key point and delivering a fatal blow is my expertise. The light from the phone screen softly illuminates my pale face. The photo's pixels are very high, capturing every detail. The girl's young body, like a plump and juicy plant, is tightly entwined with my husband Jiang Chuan. Jiang Chuan is asleep, his brows and eyes relaxed, a look I had never seen on him before. After 10 years of marriage, his brow always furrowed when he was with me. He said it was the pressure of work, the heavy burden of providing for the family. It turned out that in another woman's bed, his pressure could vanish in an instant. The girl's provocative text followed closely behind. "Sister, Chuan said he loves the way you look in uniform, but I've noticed that he doesn't really love the way you look in uniform." I stared at that last sentence for a long time. I am a cardiac surgeon, always wearing a white coat or green scrubs. He said he loved the way I looked in uniform, focused on my work, like I was glowing. And this girl, her appearance without clothes clearly made him like her even more. How ironic. I swiped the screen and saved that photo. Then I replied with just one word. Okay. The door to the duty room was knocked on, and a nurse peeked in. "Dr. Sue, the patient in bed 3 has an irregular heartbeat." I immediately stood up and placed my phone down on the table. "Prepare the defibrillator. I'll be there right away." When I came out of the emergency room, the sky was already dimly lit. The man who had almost died on the operating table was pulled back from the brink by me. I looked at the steady lines on the monitor, feeling no sense of achievement whatsoever. I could save someone else's heart, but I couldn't save my own marriage. I picked up my phone. The screen still lit. The girl sent another message. "Big sister, why aren't you saying anything? Are you angry? Don't blame Chuan Gu. He's just too tired. He said that when he's with you, he feels like a machine that never stops running." I smiled. It was the kind of laughter that vibrated in my chest but couldn't escape my lips. 10 years ago, Jiang Chuan was still a poor boy with nothing to his name. It was me who used the house my parents gave me as collateral to help him secure his first loan and start the company. It was me who, when he faced the toughest times in his entrepreneurial journey, supplemented his funding shortfalls again and again with my high salary as a doctor. It was me who transformed him from a man who had to rely on others into the general manager Jiang that others spoke of. Now, he is tired. Then, he found a refuge to rest on another woman. I clicked on Jiang Chuan's profile picture. Our chat history still paused from yesterday afternoon. I sent, "Night shift tonight. There are dumplings in the fridge. Remember to eat." He replied, "Okay, dear. You've worked hard." At that time, he was probably with that girl. I suddenly remembered long ago, when we had just gotten together and were so poor we could barely make ends meet. Back then, we didn't even have a camera. But he would dramatically mimic a frame with his hands and say to me, "Sun Yan, don't move. I'm going to take your picture." I asked, "What did you capture?" He said, "My entire world." Back then, he found it precious just to take a picture of me. Now, he can tolerate another woman capturing his most intimate self and sending it to me, as if showcasing a trophy. I closed the chat window. I opened a medical information database I often use and entered the phone number the girl used to send the text. As a doctor, I have more information retrieval privileges than the average person. 10 minutes later, a detailed personal information report appeared on my phone. Lin Niao, 23 years old, an intern at XX Media Company. Hometown, Shirtu Village, Ping'an County, T City, G Province. I looked at the 3 characters Shirtu Village. My lips curving into a cold arc, I continued to search. Father, Lin Igua, is the workshop director at the Hongqing Cement Factory in Ping'an County. Mother, Zhang Guifan, is the administrator of the Senior Activity Center in the Xinqing community of Ping'an County. I even found the work group for Lin Igua's unit, along with the WeChat group he leads, and the group chat for the Square Dance Sisters in the community where Zhang Guifan is located. After doing all this, I felt that the fatigue from the surgery and the emptiness from a sleepless night were replaced by a strange sense of excitement. Like a precise surgery, the preoperative preparations are complete. Next comes the incision, the separation. And then, a fatal blow. I push open the door to my house. The house was very quiet, and Jiang Chuan had not yet come back. That's fine. I walked into our bedroom, and on his side of the closet, his clothes were hung neatly, the ties were arranged by color intensity, and the shirts were ironed without a single wrinkle. Over the years, it has been me managing everything for him. I once thought this was what love looked like, a steady stream of giving. I opened the drawer of the bedside table, and inside was a small wooden box. Opening it, I found the first gift he gave me when we had just gotten married. It was a ring made of foxtail grass. He said, "Nian Nian, when I have money in the future, I'll buy you the biggest diamond in the world." Later on, he did buy me a lot of expensive jewelry, but I never wore any of it. I only kept this withered grass ring. I took it out and placed it in the palm of my hand. So light. It felt as if it would shatter with just a breath, just like the feelings we've shared over the past 10 years. I found a spare device at home and inserted a new SIM card. I logged into a new WeChat account, with a profile picture of a blooming lotus, exuding a particularly positive energy. Then, I began to edit the information. "Hello, Director Lin. I apologize for interrupting you during your busy schedule. I am a concerned citizen from our county, and I recently came across some indecent photos of your daughter, Lin Niao, online. I believe this has a very negative impact, especially her inappropriate relationship with a married man, which seriously undermines the pure character of our Ping'an County. As a leader in the organization, I think it is necessary for you to be aware of the situation and to strengthen the moral education of your family members." I packaged this message, along with that high-definition photo of her on the bed, and sent it to the director of the Hongqing cement plant. After some thought, I felt it wasn't enough. I found the union chairman of the cement factory, the leader of the disciplinary inspection team, and several team leaders from Lin Igua's workshops. Mass distribution. After doing all this, I turned to Ms. Zhang Guifan. "Hello, Aunt Zhang and all the sisters. I am the community volunteer Xiao Li. Recently, our community has been engaged in spiritual civilization construction, but we have noticed some negative tendencies. For example, some young girls, despite their tender age, are not focusing on self-improvement, disrupting other people's families, and shamelessly spreading inappropriate photos everywhere. For the honor of our community, we must join together to resist this bad atmosphere. I'm sharing these photos to remind everyone, we must not let our own children go astray." After speaking, I sent the photo into the Happiness Community Square Dance Sister flagship group, which had more than 200 members. This group was much livelier than the cement factories group. As soon as the message was sent out, there were immediately dozens of replies. "Oh my! Isn't this Meow Meow, old Zhang's daughter? My goodness! Who is that man? He doesn't look like he's from our county. Shameless! What a misfortune for the family." Zhang Guifan usually brags about her daughter finding a good job in the city and landing a wealthy son-in-law. But it turns out she's been a mistress. I watched the scrolling insults on the screen, my expression unchanged. It's like reading a cold pathological report. The cancer cells have spread. Excision is the only option. What has spread is the decaying marriage between Jiang Chuan and me, and Lin Niao is merely the most conspicuous tumor that needs to be prioritized for removal. The phone vibrated for a moment. It was a message from Jiang Chuan. "Wife, I had an urgent matter at the company last night and stayed up all night. Just finished and am on my way home. I want to eat the century egg and lean pork porridge you made. There was also a kissing emoji attached at the end. He is always like this. While he sneaks around outside, he calmly enjoys the care I provide. He probably thinks that I will always be that Sun Yen who quietly cooks porridge for him and waits for him to come home. I responded with a single word. Get lost. Then he was dragged into the blacklist. I walked into the kitchen and started to leisurely cook porridge. The rice needs to be soaked in advance. The century eggs should be cut into even pieces. And the lean meat should be torn into fine shreds by hand. This is what Jiang Chuan taught me. He said that only porridge made this way has a soul. I once believed it wholeheartedly. Now, I just want to splash this pot of porridge onto his hypocritical face. The porridge was bubbling in the pot, its fragrance filling the entire room. I ladled out a bowl and slowly sipped it myself. The taste is excellent, but it feels like there's a block of ice in my stomach. No matter how hot the porridge is, it won't warm me up. I remember many years ago, when Jiang Chuan first took me back to his hometown. His parents were critical of me, the city girl who couldn't do farm work, as their future daughter-in-law. During dinner, his mother pointed at a table full of dishes and said in a sarcastic tone, "Our Chuan just loves to eat home-cooked meals. What woman outside would truly care for someone?" That night, Jiang Chuan held me in the courtyard and said, "Nian Nian, don't be angry. From now on, I'll cook for you for a lifetime." I believed him, but after 10 years of marriage, the times he cooked for me could be counted on one hand. Most of the time, I dragged my weary body home from work to prepare meals for him. I finished the last spoonful of porridge and washed the bowl clean. Then, I walked out the door and went to a printing shop. The owner of the print shop is a young man wearing thick glasses. When he saw the USB drive I handed him, plugged it into the computer, and opened that photo. His hand visibly trembled for a moment. He adjusted his glasses and cautiously asked me, "Sister, are you sure? You want to print this?" I nodded. "How big?" "A 3, full color, with a laminate. Waterproof." "How many copies?" 100 copies. The boss's mouth formed an O shape, and the look in his eyes was like he was staring at a madman. I pulled out a stack of cash from my wallet and placed it on the counter. "Money is not an issue. I only have one request. Hurry up." The boss swallowed hard, no longer asking questions, and began to focus on operating the machine. The printer emitted a buzzing roar, spitting out sheets of enlarged, clear photos accompanied by a strong smell of ink. Lin Niao on the photo had a smile like a blooming flower. Jiang Chuan's profile was peaceful and calm. The two of them looked so well matched, so harmonious. It felt as if I were the superfluous and ill-timed third party. I stood by silently, watching 100 photographs piled on the table, like a stack of wanted posters. The boss packed the photos into a large black plastic bag and handed it to me. His eyes filled with sympathy and awe. "Sis, try to be more open-minded," he said softly. I smiled at him. "I'm not feeling down. In fact, I'm quite at ease. I'm more at ease than ever." A decade of marriage feels like an outfit that's been worn for a long time. Although it was old and no longer fit, I couldn't bear to throw it away out of habit. Until last night, Lin Niao used that photo, like a sharp pair of scissors, to completely shred it. When the clothes are torn, they can no longer be worn. People must always look ahead. I walked out of the print shop, holding a large bag of wanted notices. The sun was shining brightly, stinging my eyes a little. I remembered my wedding with Jiang Chuan. That day was just like today, bright and sunny. He held my hand and recited the vows he had written himself in front of all our family and friends. He said, "Sun Yan, from this day on, you are my only wife. I will be faithful to you, in sickness and in health, in poverty and in wealth. I will love you forever and cherish you, until death separates us." His voice trembled, and his eyes were red-rimmed. I, sitting in the audience, was also crying uncontrollably. I thought that was eternity. Looking back now, it was just a grand lie. A man's vow is cheaper than printed paper. At least these photos with a film coating are still waterproof. I tossed the bag of photos into the trunk and started the car. Navigation destination: Shertu Village, Ping'an County. A total of 300 kilometers. Expected driving time 4 hours. I turned on the car's sound system and played a rock song that Jiang Chuan hated the most. The tremendous roar assaulted my eardrums as I pressed the accelerator hard in time with the rhythm. The car sped down the highway. The scenery on both sides rushed backward, like the 10 years of our past. I didn't cry. Not a single tear. The hands of a heart surgeon must be steady. The heart, even more so, must be tough. Over the years, I have witnessed too many farewells and deaths on the operating table. The heart in my hand stops beating. Then it starts to pulse again in my grasp. I have grown accustomed to the fragility and impermanence of life. What does a dead marriage amount to? Anyway, I just find it a bit amusing. Here I am, a top heart surgeon in the country, a medical talent supported by national grants. Currently carrying 100 nude photos of a mistress. Heading to a small village I've never been to. What to do? To post a notice about my husband's infidelity. This is undoubtedly the most absurd and punk thing I've ever done in my life. Halfway there, I stopped at a rest area. I called my best friend and also my colleague, Lin Qiao. Qiao, help me ask for 3 days off. On the other end of the line, Lin Qiao's voice was surprised. What happened? Don't you never take leave? Are you feeling unwell? No, I said. I need to organize a funeral. Funeral. Whose? My love's. After I said that, I hung up the phone without waiting for her response. I looked at my reflection in the mirror, my face so calm it felt numbed. Yes. A funeral. There must be a ceremony to announce its death, and I want everyone to know how it once lived and how it met its unfortunate end. Shertu Village. A name that truly fits. The road into the village is bumpy, flanked by gray stone houses. At the entrance of the village stands a large old locust tree, beneath which is a weathered notice board. I parked my car in a hidden corner outside the village, put on the prepared flat-brimmed cap and mask, revealing only my eyes. Then, I held the large black plastic bag, like a spy sneaking into enemy territory. The sky gradually darkened, and the villagers returned home for dinner. The village was very quiet, with only a few dog barks. I took out the glue and brush that I had prepared long ago from the bag. The first A3-sized full-color laminated poster was neatly pasted right in the center of the bulletin board. In the photo, Lin Yao nestled in Jiang Chuan's embrace, smiling like a sunflower. But this flower wasn't wearing any clothes. I took a few steps back to admire my masterpiece. Well, it stands out. Then, I started along the main road of the village, sticking them up as I went. On the utility poles, on the abandoned walls, on the roller shutter of the small shop, and even on the gate of the village committee. I was very meticulous with my sticking, using a brush to smooth out the bubbles on each one to ensure they would stick firmly. A passing villager, carrying a hoe, curiously leaned over to take a look. Then, with an exclamation of "Oh no!" he dropped his hoe on the ground. He rubbed his eyes, looked again, and then took off running, shouting as he ran, "Big trouble! Big trouble!" That Meow Meow from the Lin family has had her photo plastered all over the village. Soon, the village was in an uproar. Doors were pushed open one after another, and heads popped out. Then came the rising chorus of gasps, discussions, and curses. Isn't this Lin Igwa's college daughter? TSK. She's really learned to be so open-minded in the city. Who is the guy next to us? He looks a bit familiar. Who cares who he is? Now the Lin couple has completely lost face. I hid in the shadows, listening to their comments, feeling utterly calm inside. I had completed my task. It was like completing a beautiful surgery, with a neat incision and perfect stitches. I stuffed the remaining posters into the door cracks of every household in the village. Everyone shares a piece, under the rain and dew. After doing all this, I quietly returned to the car. I didn't leave right away. I sat in the car, watching the distant little village, which was bubbling over in the night because of a stone I had thrown. I recalled that Jiang Chuan's home was also in a similar little mountain village. The first time I went to his house, he pointed to the muddy road at the entrance of the village and said to me, "Nian Nian, I have to walk out from here. I will make sure you live a good life." He did it. He went out and also allowed me to live what they call a good life, living in a big house, driving a nice car. But he forgot to bring along that heart that wanted to spend a lifetime with me. My phone started vibrating crazily. "It's Jiang Chuan." I hung up. He called again. "I'm hanging up." After repeating this more than a dozen times, he finally gave up and sent a text message. "Sun Yan, what on earth are you doing? Have you lost your mind?" I looked at the 3 exclamation marks, as if I could see the panic-stricken look on his face. This is our 10th wedding anniversary, and it's the first time he's used an exclamation mark with me. Before, no matter how much I sulked or threw a tantrum, he would always coax me gently with soft words. Now, for another woman, he roars at me. I drove to the county and checked into the cleanest-looking hotel I could find. I took a hot shower and changed my clothes. Then, I sat on the edge of the bed and began my second-step plan, using that new WeChat account. I sent that photo along with an emotionally charged message to a local lifestyle information public account in Ping'an County. I even thought of a title. Shocking. A female college student from Ping'an County has intervened in another's family as a mistress, and her bed photos have been plastered all over the village by the legitimate wife. In the era of media, I must learn to utilize it. A doctor's rigor is also reflected here. In doing anything, there must be a contingency plan, steps to follow, and subsequent public relations management and public sentiment fermentation. I only felt a slight exhaustion after finishing everything. I lay in bed, closing my eyes, yet my mind, uncontrollably, began to replay the memories of my past with Jiang Chuan. We sat together in the rental apartment, eating fried rice that cost 5 yuan per serving. He put the only few pieces of ham sausage inside into my bowl. We huddled together on a tiny single bed on a cold winter night. He covered me with the only thick blanket, while he himself trembled in the cold. We dreamed together about the future. He said that in the future we should have a daughter, one who looks like me, with bright eyes like stars. Those sweet, warm memories now feel like daggers dipped in poison, repeatedly thrusting into my heart. I thought I had become numb. It turns out, it still hurts. The pain makes me curl up like a discarded shrimp. Tears finally fall silently at this moment. I am not crying for the man who betrayed me. I am crying for the foolish version of myself who once threw everything aside for love. That Sun Yan was buried by my own hands today. I was awakened by a series of urgent knocks on the door. I opened my eyes to find the outside world bright with daylight. How long have I been sleeping? It seems like it has been a long time since I slept so deeply. The knocking continued, accompanied by a man's gruff shout. "Open up. Police. We're checking the place." I frowned and sat up. I opened the door to find 2 uniformed police officers standing at the entrance, along with a middle-aged man who wore an expression of anger. The man was around 50, with dark skin and red-rimmed eyes, glaring at me intently. He resembled Lin Yao somewhat. It was Lin Aigua. Behind him, a similarly furious middle-aged woman followed. Zhang Guifan. "It's her." Lin Aigua pointed at me and said to the police, "Comrade officer, it's this woman. She has ruined my daughter's reputation. Quick, arrest her." Zhang Guifan was even more direct. She stormed past the police, ready to grab my hair. "You poisonous woman. How dare you treat my Miao Miao like this? What wrong has my Miao Miao done?" I took a step back and calmly looked at them. What has she done wrong? Being a mistress, destroying someone else's home, sending provocative pictures to the legitimate wife, how is that not wrong? My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. Zhang Guifan was stunned. Lin Aigua also choked for a moment, then shouted angrily, That is a matter between you two as a couple. What right do you have to post the photos everywhere? This is against the law." "I'm breaking the law." I laughed. I'm merely stating a fact. What about your daughter? Maintaining an improper relationship with a married man and actively spreading obscene images. Doesn't that count as breaking the law? The two police officers exchanged a glance, and the older one stepped forward, addressing the Lin couple. Please calm down for a moment. And you, ma'am, we ask for your cooperation to come back to the station to make a statement. I nodded. Sure. On the way to the police station, the Lin couple followed behind, cursing me with the harshest words. They said I couldn't have children, which made me mentally deranged. They said I had aged and couldn't keep a man's heart. I listened expressionlessly. These words cut like a scalpel through skin. At first, there is pain, but once the wound is formed and the nerves are severed, only numbness remains. When I arrived at the police station, I learned that it was Lin Igwa who reported the case. He accused me of provoking trouble and infringing on his daughter's right to privacy and reputation. The one taking my statement was a very young police officer. He looked at me, a hint of sympathy in his eyes. Ms. Sue, we understand your feelings. However, your way of handling this is indeed a bit extreme. I looked at him and said, Officer, if someone sent you a text every day claiming your wife was cheating, along with clear photos, what would you do? The young officer's face flushed red. You will call the police. I continued for him. But will the police actually do anything? This is a domestic dispute. The police will only advise you to stay calm and talk it out. But what do you discuss with someone who has thrown away their face? When your husband no longer has his heart with you, what is there to talk about? I had no other choice. I simply returned her own tactics back to her. This is called treating someone with their own medicine. Once I finished speaking, there was silence in the interrogation room. The Lin couple next door were still arguing loudly, demanding the police to lock me up. My phone rang. It was Jiang Chuan. I answered. On the other end of the line, his voice was filled with exhaustion and anger. Sun Yen, where the hell are you? Do you have any idea the trouble you've caused? Miao Miao's parents are right here with me, and they want you to go to jail. Is that so? I said faintly. Then you tell them I'm at the Ping'an County Public Security Bureau, and they can come here to find me directly. Jiang Chuan was stunned. You went to Ping'an County? Exactly. I chuckled lightly. I'm here to help you deal with your romantic debts. What? No gratitude for me? You crazy lunatic. Sun Yen. He finally tore away the disguise and shouted at me. Why are you doing this? You've ruined Miao Miao. You've ruined me too. Ruined you. My voice suddenly turned cold. Jiang Chuan, ask yourself in all honesty, who exactly ruined whom? It was me who accompanied you through hardships when you had nothing, sharing your hardships and helping you start your business. It was me who, when your company faced cash flow issues, repeatedly used my salary to fill in the gaps. It was me who turned you from a poor boy from a village into the respected General Jiang of today. Did I ruin you? I damn well made you. And what about you? How did you treat me? You took the money I gave you and kept a mistress. You let her live in the house I bought, drive the car I bought. You made her send me photos to humiliate me. Jiang Chuan, we've been married for 10 years, and this is how you treat me. My voice grew louder, until I was nearly shouting. All the grievances, anger, and unwillingness that had been accumulated for 10 years. No, in fact accumulated over the past few days, erupted completely at this moment. On the other end of the phone, there was utter silence. After a long while, Jiang Chuan finally spoke with a hoarse and unfamiliar voice that I had never heard before. Nian Nian, I'm sorry, it's too late. I hung up the phone, feeling as if all my strength had been drained away. In the end, due to insufficient evidence and the fact that this was indeed a family dispute, the police mediated between us. I verbally apologized to the Lin Igwa couple. Her attitude was sincere, and her tone was completely emotionless. The Lin couple was relentless, but the police were at a loss. As they exited the police station, they blocked my way. You, woman, we won't let this go. I looked at them and suddenly found it quite funny. You should go find Jiang Chuan. He's the one who slept with your daughter. And he's the one who gave her money to spend. I didn't give him a single cent. Nor have I touched your daughter with so much as a finger. Did you come looking for me because you think I look easier to bully? After I finished speaking, I went around them and got directly into my car. I didn't return to S City. I went to the best hotel in town and booked a suite. Then, I called my lawyer. Lawyer Wang, please help me prepare a divorce agreement. The division of property is very simple. I want half of the company shares we jointly hold after marriage. The house we live in now is my property before marriage, so it belongs to me. The savings and investments under my name also belong to me. As for Jiang Chuan, let him leave with nothing. Since he is so tired and wants to be free, I will fulfill that for him. Let him return to a state of having nothing, just like 10 years ago. I want to see if, at that time, the young and beautiful Lin Miao would still think he is charming. Would she still cling to him and say she loves him? I returned to City S. And the world had turned upside down. The article from the public account in Ping'an County became a sensation overnight due to its sensational title and explosive content, not only in the local area but even on some national social media platforms. It sparked quite a discussion. The keyword original Wi-Fi 3 print naked photos covered the entire village, briefly topped the trending searches. Lin Miao was deeply doxxed. Her photos, school, workplace, and even those posts flaunting wealth she used to share on social media were all exposed. She became an internet celebrity of the year, in the most disgraceful way possible. It is said that she has been fired by the company. Meanwhile, Jiang Chuan's company has also been affected. Some partners saw the news, questioned Jiang Chuan's character, and terminated their cooperation. The company's stock price plummeted, resulting in chaos. All of this happened while I was at the Ping'an County Hotel, leisurely enjoying a spa and indulging in delicious food. I returned to work at the hospital. The looks from my colleagues were imbued with a complex range of emotions. There was sympathy, curiosity, and awe. My best friend Lin Xiao rushed over as soon as she saw me and gave me a big hug. Jian Yan, you're amazing, she whispered in my ear. Well done. I patted her back. Just regular operations. That afternoon, Jiang Chuan arrived. He burst into my office and locked the door behind him. He looked much more haggard, with sunken eyes, stubble on his chin, and his suit wrinkled. No longer the spirited General Jiang. As soon as he spoke, his voice was hoarse. Nian Nian. Let's talk. I sat behind my desk, holding a medical record. Without looking up, Mr. Jiang, this is a hospital. If you need medical attention, please go to registration. If you want to discuss personal matters, I'm sorry, but I am currently on duty. I addressed him as Mr. Jiang. He trembled, looking at me in disbelief. Nian Nian, do you really have to do this? We've been married for 10 years. Stop. I finally raised my head, looking directly into his eyes. After you chose to betray me, our 10 years of marriage ended in that very moment. I'm not. He tried to explain. Me and Meow Meow. It was just a moment of confusion. Just a moment of confusion. I interrupted him. Just a moment of confusion can lead you to rent her an apartment, buy her a car, and provide her with tens of thousands of dollars for living expenses each month. Jiang Chuan, do you think I'm a fool? This information was discovered by my lawyer. There are many unclear aspects in the accounts of Jiang Chuan's company. A large amount of funds has flowed into a specific account. That account belongs to Lin Miao. Jiang Chuan's face instantly turned pale. You investigated me. I was just protecting my legal rights, I said. After all, half of that money is mine. He stumbled back a step, leaning against the door, as if all his strength had been drained away. Nian Nian, I know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Okay. Let's start over. He began to cry. A man nearing 40, before me, was crying like a child. I can't live without you. The company can't do without you. This family can't do without you. He said it with such heartfelt sincerity. If it had been a week ago, I might have softened. But now, looking at him, I only find it ridiculous. You can't do without. It's not me. You can't do without. It's my money. My connections. Everything I've built for you. Jiang Chuan. What you love has never been me. It's yourself. My words. Like a scalpel. Precisely cut through all his tender pretenses, revealing the selfish and greedy core underneath. He was stunned. The office door was suddenly knocked hard from the outside. Open the door. Jiang Chuan. Get out here now. It was the sharp voice of a young girl. It was Lin Miao. She actually chased him to the hospital. Jiang Chuan's expression became even more unpleasant. He wanted to go open the door, but didn't dare. I picked up the intercom phone on the table and called the security department. Hello. Is this the security department? The office of the head of the cardiothoracic surgery department has someone causing a disturbance. Please send over 2 people to handle it. I hung up the phone and leisurely watched Jiang Chuan. Your new flame has come looking for you. Aren't you going to check it out? Jiang Chuan's lips trembled, and he couldn't utter a single word. Outside the door, Lin Miao was still furiously yelling and cursing. Jiang Chuan, you bastard. You lied to me. You said you would divorce that old woman and marry me. And now, what does it mean that you're avoiding me? You've ruined me like this. I got expelled. My parents don't want me anymore. It's all your fault. If you don't give me an explanation today, I'll die right here. Hearing these words, I suddenly felt that Lin Miao was also rather pitiable. She thought she had found true love, discovered a golden son-in-law who could elevate her to great heights in one leap. Little did she know, she was merely a fleeting thrill that Jiang Chuan sought in his weary marital life. I am the cornerstone of Jiang Chuan's career, his safety net. He wants both. He wants my stability and support, as well as Lin Miao's youth and passion. Where in the world can one find such a good deal? The security guard quickly arrived and dragged the crying and screaming Lin Miao away. The world finally fell silent. Jiang Chuan was still leaning against the door, lost in thought. I pushed a document in front of him. This is the divorce agreement. I've already signed it. He lowered his head, staring at the document. His body began to tremble. No, I don't agree. I don't agree to the divorce. That's not up to you, I said. If you don't agree to the divorce by agreement, then we'll see each other in court. Jiang Chuan. Guess who the judge will believe, the man who cheated and hid joint assets, or the wife who was betrayed and provoked by the affair? He suddenly lifted his head. His eyes filled with bloodshot veins. Sun Yan, do you really have to be so heartless? Heartless. I stood up and walked in front of him. We were very close, and I could smell the scent of tobacco, alcohol, and another woman's perfume mixed together on him. Jiang Chuan, do you know? Just a week ago, the patient in bed 3 had his heart stop for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. I pressed on his chest for 15 minutes, shocked him 3 times, and pulled him back from the brink of death. But you, I reached out my hand and pointed to the spot where my heart was. You made my heart die, and I don't want to save it. After saying that, I opened the office door and walked out. Behind me, a muffled, desperate sob broke the silence. Outside in the corridor, the sunlight was dazzling. I took a deep breath, feeling the air was sweet. Yes, everything was over. It was about time. A fresh start was due. Jiang Chuan ultimately signed the divorce agreement. He had no choice, as my lawyer had compiled the evidence of his extramarital affair and asset transfer into a thick report. Once in court, he would only face a more disastrous defeat. We agreed to meet at the courthouse for the final handover. He handed me the company's equity transfer agreement, along with a few supplementary bank cards. I returned the car keys and a set of spare keys for the house to him. The house we once lived in, as my premarital property, naturally belongs to me, but he needs time to move out. The house, I'll move out next week. He looked down, unable to meet my gaze. Don't rush, I said. Take your time looking. After all, you probably can't afford too nice a place right now. I wasn't lying. In exchange for not suing him, he left with almost nothing. The company was gone. The savings were gone. and all that was left was his BMW that he had been driving for a few years. He looked even more disheartened than last time, like a defeated rooster. Nien Nien. He lifted his head, his eyes filled with bloodshot veins. Is there really no possibility for us anymore? I looked at him. This face I have seen for 10 years. Once, I thought I would look at him for a lifetime. I had seen youthful arrogance on his face. I had seen ambition. And I had also seen tenderness and deep affection. But now, all I see is a middle-aged man's desolation and unwillingness. Jiang Chuan, I said calmly. Do you know about myocardial infarction? He paused for a moment and nodded. He studied economics. But after being with me for 10 years, he had absorbed quite a bit of medical knowledge. Once cardiac tissue dies, it's irreversible, even if you save the person. That dead muscle will never beat again. What we have between us is that dead muscle. It's dead. I finished speaking and turned to leave. He did not chase after me again. In the rearview mirror, I saw him standing alone at the courthouse entrance, like a statue abandoned by the world. My heart felt not a trace of turmoil, not even a hint of the pleasure of revenge, only a profound emptiness. After the dust has settled, I drove to the cemetery. In front of my parents' tombstone, it was very clean. Someone must come to clean it regularly. I placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums in front of the tombstone. Dad, Mom, I've gotten a divorce, I said softly to the cold stone tablet. Did you see back then that he wasn't the right one for me? My parents have never liked Jiang Chuan. They think his family background is too poor, and he is too deep in thought. They are afraid that I, their stubborn daughter, would be deceived by him. But at that time, I was blinded by love. I felt they were biased. I believe Jiang Chuan is a stock with great potential. He is the best man in the world. For him, I am willing to have a falling out with my parents. Looking back now, I realize I was wrong. Parents' foresight is always more long-term than ours. They are the only ones in this world who will not harm us. I sat in front of the tombstone for a long time, from noon until the sun set. The wind blew, and the pines and cypresses rustled, like my parents softly comforting me. My phone rang. It was Lin Xiao. Sister Nian, where are you? Let's have dinner together tonight to celebrate you breaking free from the sea of troubles and starting anew. Her voice was always so lively. I smiled and said, all right. Life must go on. I can't keep dwelling in the past. That Su Nian who lived for Jiang Chuan is gone. Now, I want to live well for myself. Just this once. Lin Xiao booked a very expensive French restaurant. She said she would use the luxury of capitalism to corrupt me. A woman just freed from a feudal marriage. We ordered a bottle of expensive red wine. Lin Xiao raised her glass. Come on. Let's toast to our doctor from Su University, now single again and with a bright future ahead. From today on, the handsome boys are all yours to choose from. I smiled and clinked glasses with her. Thank you for your kind words. We talked a lot. We chatted about the gossip in the hospital, the latest TV dramas, and where to travel for the next holiday. We never mentioned Jiang Chuan, as if this person had never appeared in my life at all. Halfway through eating, Lin Xiao suddenly leaned in with a gossiping expression. Hey, I heard something. I'm not sure if I should tell you. Go ahead. That Lin Niao seems to have made a comeback to S-City. My hand cutting the steak paused for a moment. Oh, yeah, Lin Xiao said. The version I heard is that her parents kicked her out of the village. And with nowhere else to turn, she came back to find Jiang Chuan. But this time she's not here to reconcile. She's here to ask for money. It is said that she has more dirt on Jiang Chuan. Things like tax evasion, commercial bribery. She threatens Jiang Chuan, saying that if he doesn't pay her off, she'll expose everything. I put down my knife and fork, picked up my wine glass, and sipped. A dog-eat-dog situation, isn't it? Lin Xiao said gleefully. Jiang Chuan doesn't have any money to give her now. I've heard that he even sold his car just to scrape together 200,000 to get rid of that woman. Now, those two have completely fallen out. Lin Niao waits for Jiang Chuan every day downstairs at that small rundown apartment he rented. Making a scene, you say. Doesn't this count as evil begetting evil? I didn't say anything. I was just wondering, what exactly did Jiang Chuan see in Lin Niao back then? Young, beautiful, or the kind that can disregard everything for money? Perhaps, in his eyes, Lin Niao is just like the young version of himself, full of ambition, full of desire, and I, too content with the status quo, too lacking in ambition. I just want to guard my operating table. Guard our home. We walk different paths and cannot conspire together. Our 10 years of marriage, from the very start, perhaps was just a mistake. What are you thinking about? Lin Xiao waved her hand in front of my eyes. I came to my senses and smiled at her. Nothing. Just thinking that the steak tonight was really tasty. After dinner, Lin Xiao offered to take me home. I declined. I want to take a walk alone. I wandered aimlessly along the streets of the city. The night wind is quite cool. It blows on my face. And it feels nice. I walked past the bookstore we used to love visiting. Walked past the cinema where we had our first date watching a movie. Walked past the tree-lined path where he carried me on his back all night long. Every place is filled with memories. I once thought that these memories would bind me tightly like vines. But now, I walk past them as if traversing through a foreign landscape. Inside, I feel very calm. As I reached the bottom of our building, I saw a familiar figure. It is Jiang Chuan's mother. She is standing at the unit door, peering inside curiously. Upon seeing me, she was taken aback for a moment, then quickly walked up to me. Sun Yan. She still called me by my full name, just like before. Auntie, is there something wrong? I asked politely. She rubbed her hands together, looking very anxious and uncomfortable. Well, how is Chuan doing lately? I don't know, I said. We're already divorced. I know, she hurriedly replied. I can't get in touch with him. He doesn't answer his calls. Doesn't reply to messages. I'm worried about him. I looked at her, this once critical rural woman who believed I wasn't worthy of her son. Now, her face was filled with anxiety and helplessness. He shouldn't be doing too well, I said. After all, the feeling of falling from the clouds into the mud is not pleasant. Then, do you know where he lives now? I shook my head. I really don't know, and I don't want to know. Jiang Chuan's mother suddenly reddened around her eyes. This damned man. How can he be so foolish? To let go of such a wonderful daughter-in-law like you and seek out those unworthy women out there. Sun Yan, Auntie knows. It was Auntie's fault before. Auntie looked down on people with her dog eyes. You are a good child. It's just that Chuan, he has no fortune. As she spoke, she began to cry. I didn't comfort her. I just quietly watched. Had I known today, why bother with the past? If only, at the beginning, she could have given us more blessings instead of being critical. If only she could have raised Jiang Chuan to be a man of responsibility and accountability. Perhaps, we wouldn't have come to this point today. But there are no ifs. Auntie, if there's nothing else, I'll go up first. After I finished speaking, I prepared to walk past her, but she suddenly grabbed my hand. Her hands were rough and very cold. Sun Yan, can you help Chuan one more time? She looked at me with an almost pleading gaze. He has nothing left now. His company is gone. It's all over for him in this life. You have the best way to handle this. Can you? For the sake of our 10 years as mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I interrupted her, gently yet firmly withdrawing my hand. Aunt, you remembered wrong. We have never been mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. In your heart, I am just a tool that can help your son achieve great success. Now, this tool no longer wants to be used. Having said that, I walked into the building entrance without looking back. The cries of that old woman were completely silenced behind me. Life returned to tranquility. I immerse myself completely in my work. Every day, I am either in the operating room or in the clinic. Busyness is the best remedy for everything. That afternoon, I had just completed a complex 8th-hour heart bypass surgery. stepping out of the operating room with a weary body. Lin Xiao approached her. Her expression was somewhat peculiar. Senior Sister Nian, there's someone looking for you in your office. Who? Jiang Chuan and Lin Niao. I frowned. How could these two people be here together? I pushed open the office door. Jiang Chuan and Lin Niao sat side by side on my sofa. Like two defeated quails, Jiang Chuan lowered his head, not daring to look at me. Lin Niao, on the other hand, raised her head, staring at me with a fixed gaze, her eyes filled with resentment. There were still a few bruises on her face that had not yet faded. It seems like things aren't going well at all. Is something wrong? I sat down behind the desk. My tone icy. It's Dr. Su. The one who spoke was Lin Niao. Her way of addressing me had changed from sister to Dr. Su. I'm pregnant. As she spoke, she took out an ultrasound report from her bag and slapped it on the table. I didn't look at the report. My gaze landed on Jiang Chuan's face. His face was as white as a sheet of paper. So what? I asked Lin Niao. You're pregnant. You should go to obstetrics and gynecology. What are you doing in my cardiology department? Are you hoping I'll help you with an abortion? My words had a sting to them. Lin Niao's face also turned pale. Su Nian, don't go too far. She screamed. I'm carrying Jiang Chuan's child. It's your Jiang family's bloodline. So what? I looked at her as if she were an unreasonable, hysterical patient. First of all, I've already divorced Jiang Chuan. Secondly, even if we weren't divorced, his illegitimate child outside has nothing to do with me. You. Lin Niao was so angry she couldn't speak. Jiang Chuan, who had remained silent all this time, finally spoke up. His voice was harsh and hoarse. Nian Nian. She wants 1 million. She said if I don't give her the money, she'll have the baby and then leave it at the company door. I finally understood. They came today to ask me for money. I was so angry I wanted to laugh. Looking at these two people in front of me, I felt this was truly the funniest joke I had heard all year. Jiang Chuan. Have you gotten your head stuck in a door? On what basis do you think I would pay for your romantic debts? On what basis do you think I would give you money to support you and other women's children? Jiang Chuan buried his head even lower. Nian Nian. I know this is absurd, but I really have no way out right now. The company is on the verge of bankruptcy due to the previous issues, and the cash flow has dried up. I've already mortgaged my house and car. But I still can't come up with that amount of money. It's only you. You're the only one who can help me. He raised his head, and surprisingly, there were tears in his eyes. Nian Nian, I'm begging you. For the sake of our 10 years of marriage. It's that phrase again. 10 years as husband and wife. How can he have the audacity to bring up these 4 words again and again? Jiang Chuan. My voice, cold as ice. Listen carefully. First, your company's bankruptcy has nothing to do with me. That's your mismanagement. Your own fault. Second, your mistress is pregnant, and that has nothing to do with me. That's the consequence of not being able to control your lower body. The third and, most importantly, the last point. From the moment we divorced, you and I have been nothing but strangers. I have no obligation, nor any interest, to help a stranger. Now, I ask you to get out of my office. Immediately. My words were delivered firmly, leaving no room for doubt. Lin Niao probably didn't expect me to be so disrespectful, and she froze. Immediately, she lunged at me like she had gone mad. Su Nian, I'll fight you. It's all your fault. You ruined everything for me. I didn't move. I just looked at her coldly. Just as her hand was about to grab my face, a figure appeared in front of me. It was Jiang Chuan. He grabbed Lin Niao's wrist and forcefully threw her away. Enough. He shouted at her. Have you had enough of this madness? Lin Niao fell to the ground, staring at Jiang Chuan in disbelief. Jiang Chuan. You pushed me for her. She stroked her belly. I'm still carrying your child in my womb. Jiang Chuan did not look at her. He simply turned his back to me, his body slightly trembling. Nian Nian. He turned around, looked at me, his eyes filled with pain and struggle. I'm sorry. Today, we shouldn't have come to disturb you. After he finished speaking, he went to pull Lin Niao, who was on the ground. We should go. Lin Niao refused to leave, sitting on the ground and throwing a tantrum. I won't leave. I'm not going anywhere until I get my money today. Sun Yan, you vile woman. May you have a horrible death. I pressed the call button on the table. Soon, 2 security guards rushed in. Skilled. They dragged Lin Niao out. This time, Jiang Chuan didn't say anything further. He simply gave me a deep glance, then followed the security guard and walked out together. The door to the office closed. The world fell silent once more. I picked up the ultrasound report on the table. On it, there was a tiny gestational sac, just a few weeks old. Like a little bean. I had imagined countless times that I would have such a report as well. Above is the child of Jiang Chuan and me. We worked hard for many years to have a child. We visited many hospitals and consulted many doctors. We took a lot of medicine and endured a great deal of suffering. But I just can't get pregnant. The doctor said it's my problem. Years of intense work, day and night reversed, have left my body depleted. Jiang Chuan once comforted me, saying it's all right. Without kids, we'll just enjoy our world as a couple. He said he only wanted me. I believed it. But now, another woman has effortlessly become pregnant with his child. I tore the ultrasound report into tiny pieces, bit by bit. Then, it was thrown into the trash can, just like tossing away my ridiculous, never fulfilled mother's dream. A few days later, my lawyer called me. Dr. Su, Jiang Chuan's company has declared bankruptcy. Ahoo. I was drinking coffee, my tone calm. All the assets under his name have been frozen to pay off debts. He can be said to be completely broke now. I understand. Moreover, the lawyer paused. He came to see me. He wants to return to you the remaining 10% you gave him during the divorce. The stake in your private hospital. I was stunned for a moment. At that time, in addition to working at a public hospital, I also partnered with a few friends to open a high-end private cardiovascular hospital. This hospital is now a leader in the country. During the divorce, Jiang Chuan absolutely refused to give up this share, believing it was rightfully his. In order to expedite the divorce, I didn't insist any further. Now, he actually wants to return it to me voluntarily. He said. The lawyer continued. He said, those were actually yours. He shouldn't have been so greedy in the beginning. I was silent. Do you need me to help you with the procedures? No thanks. I said. Lawyer Wang, please tell him for me. I won't take those shares. Let's just consider it the final payment for buying out our 10 years of marriage. Let him take that money and live well. Don't bother me again. After I finished speaking, I hung up the phone. I looked out the window at the bustling traffic. Inside, I couldn't quite express what I was feeling. Has he had a moment of conscience? Or is it the last shred of dignity in a dire situation? I don't know, and I don't want to know. We had already settled everything between us. That night, I received a call from an unknown number. On the other end of the line was a man with a heavy regional accent. Hello, may I ask if this is Ms. Sun Yan? I am. May I ask who you are? Oh. I am from the Ping'an County Police Station. Here's the thing. There's a man named Jiang Chuan, who got drunk and caused a scene on the street. We brought him back. A weight settled in my heart. How could he possibly end up in Ping'an County? He didn't have his ID on him, and his phone was broken. When we asked for his family contact information, he only mentioned one name, yours. So, I was wondering if you could. No. I interrupted him directly. Officer, I'll say it again. I have no relation with this person anymore. I am not his family. He caused trouble. So you should detain him if necessary and impose a fine where appropriate. Handle everything according to the rules. Stop calling me. With that, I hung up directly. I tossed my phone aside. But my heart betrayed me, pounding wildly. He ran alone to that small place in Ping'an County, drunk, causing a scene in the street. What was he doing? Was he confessing? Or was he going mad? I anxiously ran my fingers through my hair, walked into the bathroom, and turned on the shower. Cold water poured down from the top of my head. I wanted to calm myself down. Sun-yen, don't pay attention to him. Everything about him has nothing to do with you anymore. Whether he is dead or alive, whether he is good or bad, has nothing to do with you. You have already done everything you could. I keep telling myself over and over, but in my mind, his fallen figure always surfaces. That once proud man, who stood before me like an evergreen pine. Now, he resembles a mud that has had its backbone taken away. Did I turn him into this? No, it's not me. It's him. It's his own greed and discontent that have destroyed him. I turned off the shower and stepped out of the bathroom. I picked up my phone and booked a high-speed train ticket to Ping'an County. I don't know why I'm going. Maybe I just want to take a look. Okay at that man, whom I once loved for 10 years and also hated for a long time. In the end, what has he become? Just consider it attending the funeral of his life's second half. When I arrived, Jiang Chuan had just been released. He was wearing a wrinkled shirt, his hair disheveled, stubble covering his face, and the hollows under his eyes were deep. The whole person seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. He saw me standing at the entrance of the detention center, frozen in place. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he said nothing at all. He just lowered his head, like a child who had done something wrong. I walked up to him. Follow me. I didn't ask him why he was here, nor did I scold him. I simply took him to a small restaurant. We ordered a few dishes. He kept his head down, silently eating. He ate very quickly, with urgency, as if he hadn't eaten for many days. Watching him gobble down his food, my nose tinged with bitterness, and I nearly shed tears. My former husband, that suave Jiang Chuan, always graceful and fitting no matter the occasion. How could it have turned out like this? Take your time eating. No one is competing with you. I pushed a bowl of soup in front of him. His hand froze. Lift your head and look at me. Eyes as red as a rabbit's. Nian nian. His voice was hoarse beyond recognition. Why? Why do you still want to interfere with me? I did not answer his question. I simply asked, what are you doing here? He fell silent for a long time. It took so long that I thought he wouldn't answer. He then slowly spoke. I came to Shirtu village. My heart skipped a beat. I went to Lin Niao's house. My parents beat me up. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing bruises all over his arms. They said I ruined their daughter's life, told me to get lost and never show my face again. He lowered his head, his voice tinged with a trace of tears. I don't know where to go. The company is gone. The home is gone. And you don't want me anymore. It seems like I have nothing left. I just want to go back to where we started. Perhaps I can recover something. He spoke in a disordered manner, but I understood. When he said the place where we started, it wasn't Ping'an County. Instead, it was that heart. The one he once wanted to grow old with me, but he lost it. Now, he wants to get it back. It's too late. Jiang Chuan. I looked at him and said each word slowly. People can't always look back. The road must be traveled forward. After finishing this meal, you should go back to S City, sell those shares, or hold on to the dividends, start a small business, or find another job. You are still young, and everything is still possible. I spoke as an elder, teaching an inexperienced junior, no longer as a wife giving advice to her husband. He looked at me for a long time. Then, he nodded. Okay, after dinner. I took him to the high-speed train station. I bought him a ticket back to S City. He pulled out a stack of cash from his wallet and stuffed it into his hand. For the road. He did not refuse. He simply clutched the money, lowered his head, and said nothing. At the ticket check, he suddenly turned around and called out to me, Nian Nian. I stopped in my tracks and looked back at him. He stood among the crowd, so far yet so close to me. That year, in the yard, he shouted loudly, I mean it, sincerely. After saying this, he turned around and walked into the ticket entrance without looking back. I stood still, frozen in place. That year, in the yard, he said, "Nien Nien, please don't be mad. From now on, I'll cook for you for the rest of my life." He said, "That's from the heart." I believed him. I believe that. At that moment, he was sincere, just like when he said at the wedding that he would love me for a lifetime. He was sincere, just like when he gave me the dogtail grass ring and said he would buy me the biggest diamond in the world. He was sincere. It's just that sincerity can change. And I cannot live in those heartfelt sentiments that have already changed in nature. Life flows like a calm river, moving gently forward. I got promoted and became the youngest deputy director in the department. Every day I perform surgeries, mentor students, and write papers. Busy, yet fulfilling. With the money I received from the divorce, I bought myself a sports car that I had long desired. During my vacation, I would drive alone to distant places. I would see mountains, the sea, and the sunrise and sunset. It seems that I have regained that carefree self of mine before I met Jiang Chuan. The news about Jiang Chuan all came from what I heard from others. I heard that he really sold those shares, instead of going into business. He opened a small bookstore in a distant little city. I heard that Lin Niao ultimately aborted the child. She took the money Jiang Chuan made from selling his shares, used it for a compensation, and then completely vanished. No one knows where she went. It is said that Jiang Chuan's parents came to City S to look for him several times, but he avoided them each time. It seems he wants to make a complete break with everything from the past. Hearing this news, my heart was very calm. It was as if I was listening to a story that had nothing to do with me. That day, I received a call from Lin Xiao. She was getting married. The person was an orthopedic surgeon she had pursued for a long time. I truly felt happy for her. Her wedding was held in a beautiful seaside church. I was her bridesmaid, watching her in her pure white wedding dress, holding her father's hand, stepping closer to the man who will share her life. My eyes are a bit misty. I too have once experienced such a sacred and beautiful moment. The priest asked those questions I had once answered. Do you take this woman to be your wedded wife? To love and cherish her, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, until death do you part. The groom's voice was firm and resonant. I do. I watched as they exchanged rings, embraced, and kissed. Suddenly, I feel that love is, after all, a very beautiful thing. It's just that I haven't been lucky and have met someone who can easily get lost along the way. After the wedding, there's the bouquet toss segment. All the single girls are crowded beneath the stage. Lin Xiao held the bouquet of flowers, turned around, and faced away from us. She didn't throw it. She walked straight off the stage, through the crowd, and came to stand in front of me. Then, she stuffed the bouquet, symbolizing happiness and sweetness, into my hands. Sister Nian. She held me and whispered in my ear. You must be happy too. I held the bouquet, and tears, unable to be restrained any longer, fell down. I am not crying for my past. I am, in fact, thanking my present. Thank you. After going through so much, there are still people around me who love me. Thank you. I still have the courage to start over. It was a very serendipitous opportunity. I went to a remote little town to attend a medical seminar. After the conference, I wandered around that unfamiliar city. Then, I saw a bookstore. The name of the bookstore is strangely called Unforgettable Thoughts. My steps came to a halt, as if possessed by a mysterious force. I pushed open that door. The bookstore is small and very quiet. The sunlight streamed in through the window, illuminating the bookshelf and the floor. Dancing on the floating dust, a man sat behind the counter, his head bowed over a book. He was wearing a faded cotton shirt and a pair of black-framed glasses. There was an air about him, a scholarly ambience I had never seen before. It is Jiang Chuan. He has lost a lot of weight and has become a little darker, but between his brows and eyes, that air of dishevelment and despondency has vanished. In its place is a kind of tranquility and serenity that I cannot describe. He seemed to sense my gaze and looked up. Upon seeing me, he froze, The book in his hand fell to the ground. We gazed at each other across a counter, separated by a room filled with sunlight and dust. No one said a word. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. After a long while, he finally found his voice again. How did you end up here? Let's have a meeting, I said. Oh. Then, there was silence again. I broke the silence. Are you doing well? He nodded, then shook his head. Not good. But not bad, he said. It's just that I think of you a lot every day. My heart felt as if it had been gently stung by something. I didn't respond. I walked over to a bookshelf, pretending to read. On the shelf, there were many books by my favorite authors. I casually pulled one out, turning the page. There was a line of handwritten words on the front page. To my wife, Sun Yen. The writing was his. Strong and powerful. I was stunned. I pulled out another book. On the title page, there was that same sentence. For my wife, Sun Yen. I pulled out all the books from the entire bookshelf. Each one is the same. All the books on this shelf were written by him. For me. My hands began to tremble. I turned around and looked at him. His eyes were red. In this bookstore, every book has been collected one by one, based on your preferences. I hope that one day, when you step inside here, every book you see will be one you like. I want to tell you this way. I have never forgotten you. Nien Nien. Don't say any more. I interrupted him. I placed the book back on the shelf. Then, I walked to the counter, took out a 100 yuan bill from my wallet, and placed it in front of him. I bought this book. I took that book. My favorite. Tagore's collection of poems. Then, I turned around and walked out of the bookstore named Nian Nian Bu Wang. I didn't look back. I was afraid that if I did, I would soften my heart. I'm afraid that if I turn around, everything I've accomplished will be in vain. Jiang Chuan. Between us, it has long been over. Everything you are doing now is just to move yourself. And I will not give you another chance to hurt me a second time. I changed my flight and returned to City S ahead of schedule. I didn't want to spend even a second longer in that city. Sitting on the plane, I opened the collection of poems by Tagore. On the title page, there were his familiar handwriting. To my wife, Sun Yen. I stared at those 5 words for a long time. Then, I took out a pen from my bag. Below that line of text, I wrote a sentence. Wishing you a bright future and a life of peace and prosperity. The signature consists of 2 characters. Old friend. Yes. Old friend. Gone. Person. Our story should have long since reached its final act. Back in S City, I put that book in my ring made of dried grasses, which had long since withered, into a box. Then, I locked the box away in the deepest part of the cabinet. I will never open it again. Much later, I heard that Jiang Chuan's bookstore had gone out of business. He left that small town, and no one knew where he had gone. Perhaps he went to another city, starting a new life. Maybe he is still in some corner, silently licking his wounds. All of this has nothing to do with me anymore. My life is very busy and also very exciting. I have become one of the most authoritative experts in the field of cardiovascular surgery in the country. I have won many awards and been on television many times. I am still single. There are many people pursuing me. There are young and handsome interns, and mature and wealthy business elites. But I have turned them all down. I am not afraid of love. I just haven't met the person who can make me throw caution to the wind again. Lin Xiao's child can already run errands for soy sauce. She always urges me. Sister Nian, what kind of person are you actually looking for? I thought for a moment and said, I'm looking for someone who can piece my heart back together. My heart has shattered once, although I have already cleaned it up. Those cracks, however, will always remain. I need someone who, with their love and patience, can fill those cracks bit by bit. I don't know if I can wait for that person, but I am willing to wait. I have retired. I handed over the scalpel that I have fought with for a lifetime to a younger person. I bought a small house by the sea. Every day, I tend to my flowers, walk my dog, and watch the sea. The days passed peacefully. yet slowly. That day, the weather was excellent. I took my golden retriever for a walk on the beach. The setting sun bathed the entire surface of the sea in gold. Very beautiful. As we were walking, my dog suddenly started barking loudly in one direction. I looked in the direction it was barking. Not far away, on the rocks, sat a man. He wore an old gray jacket. His hair already had streaks of white. He was painting. On the easel was the sunset and the sea before him. He painted with great concentration. Even my dog's barking didn't disturb him. I was holding the dog, ready to leave. Just as I turned around, that man seemed to have finished his painting. He set down his brush, raised his head, and stretched. Then, his gaze met mine in the air. It was him, Jiang Chuan. He looked older than the last time I saw him. The wrinkles on his face were deep, like they were carved with a knife. But his eyes were bright and clear, like a spring, washed clean by the passage of time. He stared at me, momentarily taken aback. He smiled immediately. It was that kind of relieved, open smile. Gone were the days of his former desolation, and the struggles in the bookstore. He also stood up and walked towards me. Between us, there are a few meters of beach and over a decade of time. Long time no see. He spoke first. Long time no see. I nodded. Do you live here too? He asked. Well, I just moved here not long ago. What a coincidence. He smiled. I've been living here for almost 10 years. 10 years. So, after leaving that small town, he came here, with me, in the same city, breathing the same air, watching the same sea for 10 years. We didn't speak again. The sea breeze blew in, stirring my graying hair. My dog, at his feet, nuzzled around. He bent down and patted the dog's head. What is its name? Yin, I said. His hand froze. He lifted his head, looking at me. His gaze was as complex as a deep sea. I'm leaving, I said. I didn't want to have any more entanglements with him. I held the dog and prepared to leave. Sun Yen, he called out to me once again. I stopped in my tracks, but didn't turn back. I'm sorry. His voice was very soft. Very soft. So soft. Like a sigh. Almost carried away by the sea breeze. Anne. Thank you. I did not respond. I am just holding my Nyen, walking forward step by step, facing the afterglow of the setting sun, not looking back again. Behind me is the man I have loved for 10 years and hated for a long time. In front of me is the boundless, golden sea, and a brand new, solitary future. Just like that. Parting ways. Each finds their own happiness. Very good.